guys, so check this out. My best friend sent me a video about the designer Valdrin Sahiti. Apparently he's getting some backlash, primarily through the shade room, from some black brides who were kind of coerced into their design and their couture by them showcasing elaborate gowns they've made for big names like Beyonce and Haley Bailey and things like that, right? And I am here to tell you, I was one of them. I reached out to Valdrin Sahiti January 23rd of 2023, shortly after I got engaged, like a little over a month. And actually, I had been following them since 2022 when Jabari and I first started talking about getting married. I started looking for gowns. I wasn't necessarily shopping, but I just kind of wanted to get an idea to see if my taste now is the same as it had always been. And of course, there was a local designer here that I sought out, but they were way out of my price range. So when I doubled back and thought about Valdrin Sahiti, I said, oh my God, like I can still get a dope couture gown from them. And so I went on TikTok. My best friend was sending me TikTok after TikTok, review after review. And these people, they weren't saying they were bad. Like they were saying, I got my dress, just make sure you give them enough time to make it and all this kind of stuff. So when it came time, I reached out January 23rd, 2023. I asked all the questions I needed to ask. I asked about, how long was it going to take? I knew it was coming from Kosovo, out of the country. And I'm like, yo, they got wars in the Middle East. I might not even get this dress, but they assured me like, yo, it only takes us 4 to 6 weeks to make a dress. So you're going to get it in plenty of time. I said, okay, bet. I'm going to reach out in a few months. Because I'm like 4 to 6 weeks, that's crazy. Like I can wait until November to get my dress. But I was like, no, I'm going to do it way sooner than that. Whereas, the average time to get a dress is 8 to 9 months, sometimes 10. So I was like, I have plenty of time. So I reached back out June 2nd. And on June 2nd is when I reiterated all my lines of questioning. Are you sure you can get it to me? I wanted everything by October because I wanted to enter into the holiday season with no issues, no conundrums, no, I don't have a dress, none of that. I wanted everything by October, from my dress to my bridesmaids' dresses to the groomsmen's suits, everything. We gave every vendor that we used a deadline of the end of October. Okay. So when I reached out June 2nd, I reiterated my line of questioning. I asked, like, are you sure I'm going to have it? Like, I know it's coming from out the country. Are you sure it's going to get to me by October, the end of October? They kept saying, yes, you do not have to worry. You're going to have your dress. Okay, so I was blessed enough to have a friend that wanted to invest into me and pay for my dress. So when I got the total from them, of course, had to do the US dollars to their money. I had to do the conversion and everything. I told her what the dress would be. She wired me the money, and then I made my deposit and I put the rest away in a savings account. I wired it through a third party as they request, and once they got the money, they messaged me on WhatsApp and told me, we got the deposit, we're gonna get started. I said, great, so excited. The plan of action, as it details, said that they would send me a fabric swatch, or something. Like they would send after I sent my measurements, they would send me like a mock of the gown. Then they would send me a video of someone that matched my measurements in the gown, so I could see, what changes I wanted to make, because obviously I'm not flying to Kosovo to get this dress fitted, right? So I had expressed to them like, hey, just keep the dress a little bigger, so that when it gets to me in America, I can just take it to my tailor and get it altered to fit me perfectly. And they understood that. I mean, it made sense. And so time goes by from June 2nd to July. Now we're in August and I still don't have a dress. I don't have a video. I don't have anything makeshift. So we're well past the 6 weeks that the dress is supposed to be done at this point. But they have grace with me because I said end of October. So I reach out. I'm like, hey, just want to check on the status. I haven't gotten any of the videos or pictures that you said you would send. Just want to make sure that the dress is still in production. You guys still have my information. You got my money. So they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're working on it. We'll send you stuff when we have it. So I'm like, okay. And time keeps progressing. It's now September. I still don't have anything, no communication or whatever. So I'm getting a little nervous. And I'm just kind of going on though, making sure everything else is set and in place. My husband is doing, like, he is just phenomenal. He is bringing everything together, paying for everything, making sure I have the wedding of my dreams. And all I have to worry about is a dress in Kosovo, right? So we're doing all of this. I'm still communicating. I'm still sending messages, and it gets to October. We're at the top of October at this point, and at this point, I've been told, hey, you're going to get a video this week. You're going to get a video this week, next week, this week. All of this, and still haven't gotten a video. Still don't have the dress. Like, I just have the picture that's on their website. So I finally reach out. I took a trip to New York to see my other best friend. She had just had a baby, and I'm nervous now, okay? Like, I'm super, super nervous. Actually, this was November. This is November because I still don't have my dress in October. In October, I reached out because we're getting to the end of October, right? So I'm like, hey, haven't heard anything from you. Want to make sure I'm still going to have my dress at the end of the month. This is like maybe mid-October. And they have the nerve to get smart with me. They're like, it's coming at the end of the month. Like, you don't have to worry about it. This is when you said you wanted it. This is when you're going to get it. It's still in production. We're trying to make it perfect for you. You don't have to worry, blah, 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 blah. When is your wedding? And I'm like, honestly, it doesn't even matter when my wedding is. That shouldn't matter to you because I asked for my dress at the end of October. My wedding could be next February. It could be in March of 25. It doesn't matter. I asked for it in October, and you told me you were going to get it to me in October of 2023. So there was a little exchange of the words there. And then November comes around. November is when I travel to New York. It's like November 9th or so. And mind you, my wedding is within 30 days at this point. Okay, my wedding was December 7th, 2023. So I remember on November 9th, I traveled to New York with 2 of my friends, and I'm like, guys, I still don't have a dress. I went to New York, made it about getting my wedding shoes and all of that, but I still did not have a dress. And they were being so supportive. These were bridesmaids. So this was one of my matrons, my maid of honor, and one of my bridesmaids. They're so supportive. They're like, it's gonna come, it's coming, don't worry, da 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 da. I knew I wasn't getting this dress. So I reach out to them. They're like, hey, we're going to call you through WhatsApp. We're going to video call you to show you we have the dress. Like, it's done. We're going to send you the framework. All we need to add is the beading at the top. I'm like, oh my God. Thank you, Jesus. So the day that we leave New York, it's a Monday, and I remember we're at the airport, and I'm like, yo, they said they were going to call me, and when I'm about to get on this flight, I'm going to miss this call. And so I messaged them. I'm like, hey, what point were you planning on calling me? You said Monday morning. I know there's a time difference, but according to my time, you guys are about to close over there. It's like an 8-hour difference. So I'm like, I need to talk. I'm about to get on this plane. I don't want to miss the call. So they video call me, show me the framework of the dress. There's no beading on it, but that was to be expected. They had told me that. They said, this is going to be done this week. We're going to send your dress out on Friday. Now, this was November 13th, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, that Monday was November 13th. So I was expecting my dress at the end of that week. So I reached out. I waited till Friday. I always give you grace. I'm going to wait till Friday. It was about 2 hours before they were getting ready to close. I messaged them and I said, hey, is my dress still shipping this week? I want to make sure it's enough time to get through customs, get to America, and I still need time to make alterations if necessary. They told me that the dress was going to go out the following week, that there was a glitch in the beading, that they needed to make sure everything was perfect, you know, all this fluff talk, and I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I knew that whatever dress they had sent me was probably not even my dress. But they weren't working on it. Like, it was intentionally just not working on my dress. And so I waited and I waited. I even got ignored. They stopped responding to me until I had a lawyer reach out. And then all of a sudden, they were concerned with my wait time, and they were concerned with my satisfaction. My lawyer just simply asked, questions like, when are we going to get the dress? This is when she reached out. This is when the deposit was made. Like, I keep my receipts, okay, child? So they did all of that and still nothing. And then 12 days before my wedding, literally 12 days, it was a Saturday morning, I woke up. Well, actually, let's back up to Friday night. The Friday night before my, 12th day, so the 13th day. I'm literally laying in bed, and I'm like, I don't have a dress, and I know this dress is not coming from Valdrin. It's not. They're not going to make it. So I'm going to set an appointment with some local bridal shops and figure out what I'm going to do. Like, this is a last minute situation. I'm going to have to get a dress locally. And so I made an appointment. I was half asleep. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was half asleep when I made the appointment. So I didn't even know the vendor. I took a screenshot of the appointment, but it didn't have the name of the vendor that I made the appointment with. So the next morning, the 12th day, I wake up and I'm like, I don't have a dress. Like, I called my mom and I said, Mommy, I still don't have a wedding dress. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. She was like, I should have known something. You didn't say it came in. You didn't say it was pretty. You didn't come over here for me to see it or hide it. Like, I knew something was wrong. I said, yeah, I've just been quiet. I've been hoping because I knew it was international. I knew I would be cutting it close. But at the same token, I didn't know I would be cutting it close because when I placed my deposit in June, they said 6 weeks. So I assumed I would have the dress, but I gave them grace. I gave them to the end of October, and I still didn't have it. So that Saturday morning, I'm freaking out, and I'm like, well, I made an appointment last night, but I don't see where I made it, who I made it with. I don't have a confirmation email, anything. So I start going through all these bridal shops to try to schedule to see whose scheduling app looks the same, right? And so I come across one where I think it's the same company, and I'm like, I think this is it, but the appointment time that I picked was still on the site. So I'm like, well, maybe I never finished making the appointment. Like, maybe something happened. So I scheduled the appointment again. Turns out it was a totally different vendor. Okay. So I scheduled this appointment at a 5 o'clock appointment. Maybe about 30 minutes later, the first company that I made an appointment with calls me to confirm. I'm like, oh my God, like, I didn't even remember the name. I made it while I was half asleep, and now I've double booked. Like, I have 2 appointments at 5 o'clock. I need to reschedule this. Like, is it any other time I can come in? They're like, well, we happen to have a 3 o'clock, so you can come at 3 and still make your other appointment at 5. Perfect. Call my mom back, call my best friend. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. I gotta find another dress. And my nieces are in town too. So everybody is in a panic, okay? So 3 o'clock, we go to this first bridal shop, and I'm explaining what happened. I'm like, yo, my wedding is in 12 days. Like, you know, when you book the appointment, you have to tell them, like, what's the date of your wedding? And when I walked in, they were like, did you mean 2024? And I said, nope. I meant exactly what I put. My wedding's in 12 days. I need a dress. And I don't need to have alterations. Like, I need it to fit. So we go to this first place. They pull out a few dresses. I tried on one, and it was okay. It was nice. I knew I was settling because it wasn't what I originally wanted. Like, it wasn't it. But I tried it on, and my mom was trying to be so nice. She was being so sweet. She was like, it's pretty. But let's try the other shop. Let's try the other bridal shop. So I'm like, all right. So I was like, just hold this. I said, what time do you close? They said 8 o'clock. I said, okay, I have another appointment at 5. I'm very transparent. Like, if I'm going to come back and get something, I'm going to let you know. If I'm not coming back, I'm going to still let you know. I just feel like that's common courtesy. not to have people waiting and expecting you to do something and then you don't do it. So I'm like, hey, if you close at 8, my other appointment's at 5, I will call you either way, whether I'm coming back to get the dress or telling you go ahead and put it back on the rack. Okay, so my mom and my nieces, we go get some food, and my best friend meets us at the 5 o'clock appointment. Now, we get to the 5 o'clock appointment, and I see a dress in the window. The dress is absolutely gorgeous. And I see it. I'm like, okay, walk in, meet our rep. And my rep is like, okay, is your wedding in 2023 or 2024? Funny you should ask. It's actually in a few weeks. 12 days out, I need a dress. And I can't spend more than $5,000. Like at this point, $5,000 is my cap. Okay? So she's like, okay, it's no problem. What's your style? I'm giving her my style. I explained to her the situation that has happened with Valdrin Sahiti at this point. And she's like floored because apparently they had just created a partnership with this company to, sell their gowns. And she was just like, I'm going to have to tell the owner because that's not cool. Like, we should cancel our business with them. And so I knew something then, like, well, y'all not just gonna cancel off my word. Like, maybe I've heard this from somebody else before. So she pulls dresses, 5, 6 dresses off the rack. She's showing me around. She's keeping within my budget. And we circle around the entire store. And my niece says, yo, you should get that dress. Like, try that dress on, the dress in the window. And I'm like, listen, she's pulling the dresses that I told her was within my budget. So I'm not going to ask her to pull nothing I can't afford and then love it and be disappointed, okay? And she overhears me and she's like, you want to try that on? I was like, is it $5,000? And she was like, I'm sure we can work something out. Now, usually when salespeople say, I'm sure it's something we can work out, they're trying to get you and it's going to be like, well, we could get it down to 7. No, I told you 5. So if you say you're going to work it out, I expect it to be 5 or less, okay? So try on the first dress, loved it. It had pockets. Like, who doesn't want a wedding dress with pockets? Okay, I could put my phone, my tissue, I could put everything in there. Tried that one on. Second dress was a little more bedazzled. It had, some zhuzh on the bottom, but it just wasn't my zhuzh. Okay. Third dress, loved it. It was getting poofier. The dress was getting bigger. It was fulfilling my Ice Queen vibes that I had going on in my head. That fourth dress I tried on, 4. Tried on that fourth dress, and it was my dress. I came out of the fitting room with the biggest smile on my face. I literally, I start crying. Like, and I'm not a crier. If you know me, I don't cry over a lot. It takes a lot for me to cry. I started crying. My best friend got my sister on the phone. My sister was like, that's the dress. We called my other best friend in New York. She's like, that's the dress. We called my other bridesmaid here in Dallas. She was like, yo, that's the dress. So I was like, yo, I look at my mom because my mom is footing this bill. Like at this point, all I have is what's left of a deposit from the person who wanted to sew into me in the first place. So I don't even have the $5,000 on hand. I just have what's left and my mama. Okay, I'm just to be honest. And my mom was like, I got it if it's under 5,000. So the lady was like, let me work out some numbers, okay? Working it out, comes back. She's like, listen, this dress typically goes for $12K. But we worked it out. It's literally the only one in the world. And we're going to give it to you for $47 because we hate what has happened to you. We hate this whole situation for you. And we know you might need to get alterations and all of that. So we're going to, basically, they didn't say this part, but we're going to sew into you and give you this dress for $4,700. I start booking in the store. I did. You can ask my niece. You can ask my best friend. I literally went up into a high praise. It was my dress. It was crazy. And so my niece, she's like, well, all wedding dresses have names. So what's the name of this dress? Like, I want to know, like, is it really meant for my aunt? And the lady was like, well, it doesn't really have a name. It just has letters. It's JJ. Almost fell out, okay? My name Jasmine, his name Jabari, last name Johnson. Like, we just J's all over the place. So we're like, this is a sign. We supposed to get this dress, right? And so we go to the checkout or whatever, and the owner comes to me. He's asking me details about what happened with Valdrin Sahiti, you know, and I'm sharing with him my story. I'm showing him the screenshots. I'm showing him all the messages. I'm showing him where I made my deposit and everything. And he's just like, that's just unacceptable. It's no way to do business. So he gave me all the information I needed to get alterations because it was a little long. Got that. They were closed. The alterations place was closed. When I first called, when we left the bridal shop, it was at nighttime. We were their last client at 5 o'clock. They're closing. It's a Saturday. Okay. But they closed that next morning. I called the alterations place that they work closely with, and they happened to have an appointment that day. No, I called them. Yes, I called them on Monday, not Sunday. I called them on Monday. They had an appointment that day. So I called my best friend who took the dress home with her. Like, yo, I need to get in your apartment. I need to get this dress. Like, da-da-da-da. So she happens to be able to leave work, gets me the dress. I go straight over there. They fit me in. They work me in for my 3 appointments leading up to the wedding. Mind you, we're 10 days out from the wedding at this point, okay? And typically, alterations can take anywhere between 30, 60, 90 days, depending on what you're getting. Luckily, I didn't need too many alterations. I just really needed some hemming, some taking in a little bit in the shoulders, not much. But of course, I had to pay a rush fee. So I ended up spending half of that deposit on them alterations. So I was able to get my alterations done in time. I picked my dress up on the Tuesday before my wedding. I got married on Thursday. So 2 days before my wedding, I finally have a wedding dress. And all the while, I was still waiting to hear from Valdrin Sahiti. I go back in my WhatsApp and I find a message from them from the Sunday prior to my wedding. And because at this point, I'm not even thinking about them. I got my dress on, I got my dress. I'm not worried about them. I did want my money back, but I'm like, they probably not going to give it back. So the Sunday before my wedding, I get a message and say, hey, your dress is ready to ship. Just send us the balance and we going to ship it. No, not happening. And so they have someone else reach out to me from a different WhatsApp messenger thing. Like, it was a completely different thread, somebody else. Now, mind you, I had been emailing them, okay? So I've been emailing someone and communicating through WhatsApp. The person I was emailing decides to create a thread on WhatsApp, a separate from the one that I've had since January of 23rd of 2023, and creates another thread like they're another person. And they sign their name, and I'm like, hey, yo, don't act like you don't know my story because I've been emailing you. Don't try to play me for a fool, right? So they're going back and forth. I'm like, I just want my money back. I'm not sending y'all more money to send me this dress and it still might not get here. No, I'm not paying the balance. When I asked you if I paid the balance, if that would make y'all hurry up, y'all ignored me. So now I have another dress. I'm not sending it. No. So I'm like, I want my deposit back. They start ignoring me again. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll get the authorities involved. I'll request my money back through the third party that I had to send it and do a scam likely on y'all business. Because that's what this is. This is a scam. They ended up responding to me from that. They got a little scared and testy, whatever. So we went back and forth for a few days. And then in the other thread, I guess the person that's making the dress messages me and is like, hey, we're ready to ship it out. We're going to do you a favor. Don't send us the $1,200. Just send us $1,000 and the shipping costs, and we'll send it to you. No, that's not happening. I'm not doing that. And so they sent me a full video of the dress. They're like, oh, it's so beautiful. We did all this work, and we put all this time and effort in just to get it perfect just for your wedding day. And now you don't want it? No, I don't want it, because I wanted it when I wanted it. And that was in October. And 12 days before my wedding, you all forced my hand to purchase a whole nother dress. And so you're telling me on Sunday, the Sunday before my wedding, y'all are going to ship it to Dallas, Texas, in the United States of America, and I'm gonna have it before Thursday? Y'all think we stupid. And a lot of us black women, maybe we were stupid for trusting them in the first place. But once we kept going, I'm like, y'all done met y'all match. So I had an attorney reach out again, and they were telling them that they couldn't do the money back, but they would do a store credit. And so I'm like, okay, after I get through all these legal fees, all of this back and forth of, the money, I'm gonna end up spending more money on that than I did for the initial deposit, for the money I'm asking back. I said, that doesn't even make any sense. I said, so just give me the store credit and I'll just hold on to it. I don't know where I'm going in 2024, or even if the same thing will happen to me or anybody else, even if I sold it to somebody else, but I'll just keep it in my back pocket. So yeah, that's my story of working with Valdrin Sahiti. Ladies, obviously you can't trust them. Us black women, if you are going to go couture, I highly recommend you just staying local. Or staying with somebody that a close friend maybe has already used. I definitely got scammed, not for the full amount, but definitely got scammed. I do not recommend Valdrin Sahiti. I'm going to use whatever little influence that I have to reiterate that time and time again. I will never, ever, ever trust them. And what's crazy is they do immaculate and beautiful work, I'm sure, for those that are local that can pull up on them. But preying on black women in America looking to have the luxury at a lower cost, it's unfortunate. And I really genuinely feel bad for any of us who were fell subject to Valdrin Sahiti and their schemes. What they made for Beyonce on tour, fabulous. What they made for Haley for her movie premiere, gorgeous. That was really what sold me. That dress was like, oh yes, definitely using them. But they scam those who don't have the money, don't have the influence, and unfortunately, it sucks, but they're going to keep doing it. So I wanted to share my story so that my reach could touch, anybody coming after me who's looking to get married, anybody who follows me. I don't know who all is going to see this, but if you see it, trust me, I ain't lying to you. I done flashed screenshots. I done gave you receipts. I done told you, they scammed me. And they scammed some of my African-American sisters, and it really, really sucks. But who I do recommend, who I got my dress from, this one-of-a-kind dress, is ICONIC Bride in Dallas, Texas. If you are in the DFW area, driving distance, San Antonio, Houston, anywhere, you can fly in. I am 100% recommend and endorse. I don't even know if my endorsement means anything, but I 100% recommend ICONIC Bride. That company literally saved my wedding day, okay? They saved my stress levels. They pacified my stress levels. I came down off 1,000 and came back down to 3. They came through in the clutch. There's no way in the world you see a dress in a window, try it on, it fits like a glove, and that happens to be your wedding dress just 12 days before your wedding. Where do they do that? And it's the only one in the world. The only other dress similar to my wedding dress was worn by Yvonne Orji on the cover of Vogue magazine, and the dress was yellow. And what's funny is when I did my engagement pictures, I wanted that dress. I saw it on Etsy, And when I saw it, I'm like, there's no way that this Etsy shop made this dress for Yvonne Orji. I don't believe that. And so I was looking for it. I couldn't find the designer's name. I couldn't find anything about it. And so I went with something else. But that dress is what I wanted for my engagement pictures. And lo and behold, ICONIC Bride, the owner of that store, reached out to the designer after he saw that Vogue cover and said, yo, this is a bridal gown. Like, I need this in white. And they're like, well, we don't make it in white. We don't have it in white. We just made her one for the cover. And they were like, I want white to put it in my store in the window as a display. And the designer made the dress for him, and it had been on display for a while until I showed up and put it on, and he was like, nobody's ever asked to try it on. Nobody's wanted it, and now it's yours. Shout out to ICONIC Bride. Shout out to James. I am extremely appreciative. And shout out to AFTA Bride. AFTA Bride, Altered for the Altar is the company name. They did my alterations in record timing. Yes, there was a rush fee, so please don't get misconstrued. They didn't do any favors. The favor was that they happened to have a space for me that Monday to come in and bring my dress and to get it altered in time just a week before my wedding. It was a magical experience locally, and I was trying to recreate a magical experience overseas that happened to be right in my backyard. So I 100% recommend ICONIC Bride, Altered for the Altar. They're called AFTA for any wedding alterations. They are dreams. They were incredible to work with. Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about them. I've been waiting to do this review, and so circle back around when I saw the video on the Shade Room about Valdrin Sahiti. I said it's time for me to share my story and how it came full circle and how I still ended up with the best wedding dress of 2023. Okay, I'm biased, whatever. But yeah, that is my Valdrin Sahiti story, and I really, really hope that my story helps someone not to be scammed by them or any companies like them. Ladies, do your research, your full research. And even in this case, I did my research and still got scammed. So just keep it local. Just keep it local. So if you need to pull up on somebody, you can pull up on somebody, all right? I love y'all, and I'll have more reviews to come on some other vendors that we use. Some great, some not so great. So just be prepared. Love y'all.